So now we shall be discussing regarding the surfaces of the spleen. Okay, we have got two surfaces. One is called as a visceral surface, another one is called as a parietal or the external surface of the spleen. So we shall look at the surfaces of the spleen now. So regarding the surfaces of the spleen, one very important thing you have to know. What did I tell you? The spleen is present between 9, 10 as well as 11th rib, right? It is present between 9, 10 as well as 11th rib. Okay. Now, if you look at 10th vertebra, not rib, I'm not talking about rib, I'm talking about vertebra. If you look at T10, okay, that is the 10th vertebra. This is the 10th vertebra. Above this you have got T9 and below this you have got T11. Okay, where is spleen located exactly? Spleen is located over here, right? So if I make an angle out of it, how am I going to make an angle out of it here? So for example, let us say this is a spleen like this. Okay, this is the spleen. Okay, and if I make an angle out of it in the sense, see, for example, this is a horizontal line which I have drawn. And all of you know the spleen has got two ends, right? With the black I'm drawing here. See, this is called as an anterior pole, this is called as a posterior pole. Touching both the poles, I'm drawing another line. Touching both the poles, I'm drawing another line over here. Okay. Now, if I try to make an angle in between both of them, the angle here will be around 45 degrees. So, can I tell that spleen is making an angle of 45 degrees with T10 vertebra? Yes or no? So spleen is making an angle of 45 degrees with this T10 vertebra. Yes. And second important thing is that what is this line which you have drawn touching the anterior and the posterior pole till T10? See, this line I'm talking about. This line is nothing but your 10th rib. Okay, I told you spleen is present between 9, 10 and 11. Actually, this is the 10th rib. So 10th rib is at an angle of 45 degrees. So along the 10th rib, in the same direction of 10th rib only, your spleen is also present. Okay. Now, if you look at the surfaces of the spleen, first of all, let me make a transverse section of the spleen. When I make a transverse section of the spleen, this is how the spleen looks. You just have to remember the diagrams, okay? When you make a transverse section of the spleen, this is how the spleen looks. This is how the spleen looks on the transverse section. Now, what do I mean by that is, for example, so let me show it in the how should I show you to you in the form of a picture? For example, let us say, see, this is a spleen. This center part is called as a hilum of the spleen. Now, what I'm doing is that this is the spleen. Okay, where is the hilum of the spleen? See, this is called as a hilum of the spleen. Now I am putting the hilum down like this. Now what I will do is that I will cut this part. When I will cut this part entirely, right, and then I am showing it to you. Okay, so that is the exact picture here. Clear? So in this picture, you can see here few important things. For example, see, this one over here is called as the hilum of the spleen. This is called as the hilum of the spleen. And spleen has got two borders, I told you. See, on the top one, the lower border is another border. So this border over here is called as a superior border. Superior border. And this border over here is called as the inferior border. So we have got one is called as a superior border and the other one we have got is the inferior border. Okay. And this entire surface which you can see right now, see, this entire surface which you can see right now, this is called as a visceral surface. Okay. In the same way, this entire surface which you can see right now, this surface is called as a diaphragmatic surface. This is the surface which is facing the diaphragm. This is the surface which is facing the visceral organs. Okay. So you call this entire surface as the visceral surface. And this entire surface is called as the diaphragmatic surface. Diaphragmatic surface. Okay, so these are the two important things which you need to know. Right, now if you look at the visceral surface, I mean if I'm putting a camera over here and looking at the visceral surface, right, so actually this is like this, right? This is like this. So what did I tell you? The top surface is called as a diaphragmatic surface and the lower one is called as visceral surface. Now what I am doing is that I will lift the visceral surface and I will show it to you. So when I lift the visceral surface and I show it to you, this is how the picture looks. This is how the picture looks over here. So again the same thing. This one will become the anterior end now. Anterior end, and this is the posterior end. Posterior end, right? So where is the hilum then? The hilum is in the center. So this one over here is called as your hilum. This one over here is called as your hilum. So this part over here is called as your hilum of the spleen. Okay. Now after this hilum of the spleen, then where is the superior and the inferior border? You told there is something called superior border, there is something called inferior border. See, this is called, this entire surface is called as a superior border. Superior border, and this entire surface over here is called as the inferior border. Superior as well as the inferior border. And what are these things over here? These things are called as notches. These things are called as notches, right? So we discussed regarding the surfaces of the spleen, right? In the surface of the spleen, I told you the spleen is making at an angle of 45 degrees here, and next we have got two borders. So this is a section, a transverse section, as well as this is an visceral surface. Okay, two surfaces. So these are the external features of the spleen. Okay, internal features we'll discuss later on. So in this, whatever things we have discussed right now, we discussed that we have got a superior border, we have got an inferior border. Apart from that, we have got a surface called as visceral surface like this, and we even have got diaphragmatic surface. Okay, and here also the same thing. And obviously not to forget that this part is called as your hilum of the spleen. Okay, so this is all you need to know regarding this and surfaces of the spleen. So thank you so much for watching my video. Goodbye.